Hey YouTube, how's it going? Mevlin back here again with another Alchemy Stars video, and for this one I have two huge tips for you that will increase your damage by optimizing your basic attacks. So this is the result of both the tips that I'm about to show you. The top one is me not using any of the tips, and the bottom one is me actually using it. It's only 4% difference here, but this was only one turn. This was only 5 basic attacks, so the more turns you're going to take and the more basic attacks you're going to do, especially if your team is completely focused around basic attacks, the more difference in damage you're going to be seeing, and that could be the difference between a W and an L. If you lose a fight and the boss has 5% HP left, you could have won that fight if you knew the tips that I'm about to show you. Credit where credit is due though, everything that I'm about to show you here is based off Wildclaw's guide here in Reddit. So if you want to see the actual numbers and if you want to see how damage is calculated in Alchemy Stars, I will post a link in the description below. So the first way to increase the damage of your basic attacks is by utilizing the tile combo damage multiplier. You've probably seen this in game, where if you step on a tile, you see a combo point system above the tile that you're standing on. So here we see 1 combo point, and then once we move to this tile, we see 2 combo points. Now for chain combos, it doesn't really matter the order that your tile that you're getting, because it's just the sum of all the tiles you've gotten. But for basic attacks, it actually does matter the order, because the combo damage multiplier that you get on your basics depend on your current combo points on the tile that you're standing. So here on this first tile, I'm going to get a 0% increased damage because that is the combo multiplier here on the first tile. Meanwhile, on this second tile, we're going to get a 5% increased damage. I'm just going to run this with my Hydra to show you what I mean. So on our first basic attack, we did 1952 damage. And on our second basic, we managed to do 2089 damage. Now this is not 5% increased damage, this is actually exactly 7% increase, and there's a reason why it goes up to 7%. I will explain that on the second part of this video, but what's important to note here is that remember that for every tile you move, your basic attack damage increases. So in order to show the difference in damage here, I'm going to do 2 different attack patterns here in Frostspire 43. Now a very common attack pattern that people are going to be doing is that they're going to start in one side and then loop around, go to the other boss, and then they end here. This is fairly common. I used to do this a lot. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and it makes a lot of sense. So I'm just going to let this run and we're going to see how much damage we do here. So on the top boss, we managed to get him down to 48% health. Now the problem with the previous attack pattern is that by starting our attack pattern here, this basic attack has a 0 multiplier, meanwhile this second one only has a 5% increase. So to increase our basic attack damage, we should put every single tile that has a basic attack towards the tail end of our attack pattern. I'm going to show you how to do that here. Now, I try to stay as faithful as possible, making sure that there aren't that much discrepancies between the 2 attacks. But notice how our this basic attack now has a 13 combo, which is around it's a 45% increase. Meanwhile, the 14 combo here is a 47.5% increase. So I'm gonna run this and show you the difference. Now looking in the difference in damage here on our first boss, the top one, we ended up doing 4% increase damage in terms of his health. Meanwhile on the bottom one, we lost 2% of boss damage. Now, the reason why we lost 2% boss damage on the bottom one is the exact same reason why we gained 4% in the top one. It's because our tile combos were a lot lower on our second run. On our first run, the two basic attacks we did on the bottom boss were on a 12 and a 13 tile combo. Meanwhile, on the second run, we were only doing 9 and 10. So that's the reason why we lost 2% damage. But if we look at the sum of the difference here, we ended up gaining 2% increase health damage towards the bosses. So remember earlier how we had a 7% attack multiplier when in fact we should have only gotten 5, and that is because there are two different attack multipliers in the game. The first one we already talked about. The second one is going to be a hit count multiplier, and it is what it sounds like. Every time every unit basic attacks, you get to increase your hit count by 1. Now earlier our hit count multiplier was at 2%, so 5 plus 2, that's equal to 7%. That's how we got 7% attack multiplier. If you're kind of confused right now, I totally understand. I'm just going to show you what on earth I'm talking about as an example. Here I'm going to move into a 1 blue tile, and then we're going to keep track of Hydrad's damage. Notice the 1 combo at the left. This is your hit count counter. Now our tile counter here is at 1 as well with a hit count of 1. So our attack modifiers here is at 0%, which means 1952 is our base damage for basic attacks. And now I changed my team order a little bit. Now I have my Miss Blank going first. So when Hydrad gets to attack now, he will get a 2% increased damage because the hit count now goes up to 2. So now that Hydrad went second, our damage went up to 1992, and that is exactly 2% because the game actually rounds everything up. So to optimize your damage here, it's actually really easy. All you need to look at is the value of your attack, not the value of your damage. You don't care about your skill modifiers, just look at the value of each of a unit's attack and reorganize your team formations such that you'll have them in terms of increasing attack. So have your lowest attack first, and then the next one, and the next one, and then make sure that your last unit is the unit that has the highest attack. For the damage test here, I just completely reorganized my team. I've inverted it. Now I have my highest DPS on the top of the list. Meanwhile, I have my lowest attack on the bottom. Here I've also managed to recreate the scenario completely. This is a 15 tile with 1 enhanced tile. So I'm just going to run it and we're going to double check the damages. After putting my team in the quote-unquote incorrect order, we actually lost 2% damage by not having my highest DPS in the bottom. It's 2% damage, I know, but this one's really easy. There's like barely anything for you to do here. All you have to do is put your team in the right order, take your highest DPS, put it in the bottom, and you're done. There's absolutely no reason for you not to do this compared to the previous tip, which requires a little bit of brain power. This one is just basically easy damage. And those are two different ways to increase your auto attack damage. Hopefully this guide made enough sense. I tried to make it as understandable as possible, but if you still have any questions or if you are just confused in general, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I will be answering each and every one of your questions. If you did enjoy the content though, do consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps people like me who are trying to make something out of this. But for everyone who made it all the way through, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.